Go ahead, you're
Welcome
on.
to the Ramblers December meeting. Glad to have so many of you joining us, and hope that you all have a happy, healthy, and safe holiday. Our topic tonight is South America, the continent of South America, and four of us are going to offer you some insights in that regard. As you may have gathered from that intro, my topic is Eva Perón, First Lady of Argentina and spiritual leader of the nation. Eva Perón was the embodiment of the rags to riches cliche. She was born Maria Eva Duarte in 1919 in a remote village in Argentina, the youngest of 5 illegitimate children of her mother, Juana Ibargüen, and her father, Juan Duarte. When Eva was only 1, her father returned to his lawful wife, leaving Eva's mother virtually penniless. To support her children, Eva's mother made clothing, ran a boarding house, and some say a brothel. Eva wanted to become an actress, and in 1934, at the age of 15, ran away to Buenos Aires with a musician. In the 1930s, Buenos Aires was known as the Paris of South America, with its many cafes, restaurants, theaters, movie houses, and shops. There, Eva had some minor success in obtaining small dramatic roles at first, but eventually landed a contract as a radio actress, which brought her financial stability. Her minor film roles were less successful. In 1944, Juan Perón, who was then Secretary of Labor, decided to sponsor an artistic festival as a fundraiser for victims of an earthquake, and he invited radio and film actors to participate in a gala celebration. It was at this event that Eva Duarte first met Colonel Juan Perón and promptly became his mistress. He was 48, she was 24. Soon, at Perón's suggestion, the Argentine government began to require that broadcast performers must organize themselves into a union. Quickly, Eva Duarte was elected president of the union, likely at the urging of Juan Perón. As president, Eva began a daily program called Toward a Better Future, which dramatized Perón's accomplishment. Perón, deeply touched by Eva's dedication and loyalty, was in love with her, and in October 1945, they were married. In 1946, Perón ran for the presidency of Argentina. Using her weekly radio show, Eva campaigned heavily for her husband, who won in a landslide. Eva's radio speeches used populist rhetoric, urging the poor to align themselves with Perón. Eva was now the First Lady of Argentina. In 1947, Francisco Franco, the Spanish leader, invited Juan Perón for a state visit. When Perón declined, Eva decided to go instead. What followed was a much publicized rainbow tour of Europe. While in Spain, Eva handed out 100 peseta notes to poor children she met. Franco bestowed upon her the highest award given by the Spanish government, the Order of Isabella the Catholic. Next, she visited Rome, where she met with Pope Pius XII. France, where she met with Charles de Gaulle, and Switzerland were her next stops, but King George VI announced that he would not receive her. Her European tour landed her on the cover of Time magazine, the only time in the magazine's history that a South American First Lady appeared alone on the cover. Prior to the election of Juan Perón, the Sociedad de Beneficencia, Society of Beneficence, a charity group of society ladies, was responsible for most charity work in Buenos Aires. It was the group's tradition to elect the First Lady of Argentina as president of the charity. But the ladies of the Sociedad did not approve of Eva's impoverished background, lack of formal education, and former career as an actress, so they did not extend an invitation to her to become president. It has been said that the government funding which had supported the society was terminated in retaliation, but in any event, the funding now went to support the Eva Perón Foundation. Eva also contributed 10,000 pesos of her own. Within a few years, the foundation had assets of more than 3 billion pesos, or over $200 million at the exchange rate of the late 1940s. It employed 14,000 workers, annually distributed 400,000 pairs of shoes, 500,000 sewing machines, and 200,000 cooking pots. The foundation also gave scholarships, built homes, hospitals, and other charitable institutions. It has been credited with eliminating inequality in Argentine healthcare. Eva supervised every aspect of the foundation and spent long hours working there and meeting with the poor who requested her help. During these meetings, she could be seen kissing the poor and sick and allowing them to kiss her. This work with her foundation played a large role in her idealization, even leading some to consider her a saint. Eva Perón was the First Lady of Argentina for 6 years, from 1946 to 1952. During that time, in addition to her work with her foundation, she became powerful within the pro-Peronist trade unions, ran the Ministries of Labor and Health, championed women's suffrage, and founded and ran the nation's first large-scale female political party, the Women's Peronist Party, all of which is especially remarkable for a woman with no formal education in a patriarchal country. In January 1950, Eva fainted in public and underwent surgery 3 days later. Although the surgery was publicly characterized as an appendectomy, she had in fact been diagnosed with advanced cervical cancer. By 1951, her supporters were urging her to run for the vice presidency of the nation, with mass rallies of 2 million people chanting, "Evita, Vice Presidente." But it became increasingly obvious that her health was declining, so she decided not to run. On May 7, 1952, Evita's 33rd birthday, she was given the official title of Spiritual Leader of the Nation by the Argentine Congress. In spite of a radical hysterectomy and being the first person in Argentina to receive chemotherapy, she became emaciated, weighing only 79 pounds at the end of her life. She died on July 26, 1952, at the age of 33. Immediately after her death, the government suspended all official activities for 2 days and ordered flags flown at half-staff for 10 days. Business was halted, movies were stopped, and customers were asked to leave restaurants. The crowd outside the presidential residence where she died congested the streets for 10 blocks in every direction. The streets of Buenos Aires overflowed with flowers. Within a day of her death, there were no flowers remaining in Buenos Aires, and supplies had to be flown in from all over the country. Despite the fact that Eva Perón never held a political office, she was given a state funeral, along with a full Roman Catholic Requiem Mass. Eva Perón was a unique phenomenon in Argentine history, indisputably a cultural icon, hated by the aristocracy and adored by the masses. She has been compared to her fellow Argentine Che Guevara, in that both embody a belief in the hope for a better world, a life sacrificed on the altar of the disinherited, the poor of the earth. A cultural anthropologist, Julie Taylor, claims that Eva Perón has remained important in Argentina due to 3 unique factors: femininity, mystical or spiritual power, and revolutionary leadership. Anyone who can identify with all 3 images lays an overwhelming claim to dominance. Her legacy lives on. On the 50th anniversary of her death in 2002, a museum opened in her honor, the Museo Evita. In 2011, 2 giant murals of Evita were unveiled on the facades of the Ministry of Social Development in Buenos Aires. In 2012, to commemorate the 60th anniversary of her death, currency was issued with her image on it. And of course, this glamorous Mother Teresa has been immortalized on Broadway and in Hollywood in Evita.